learning about what hypermobile is a game changer. And if you're listening and your body feels like, you're doing she's doing the most she can. Like your body is like at its max and you're tired. And it's not because you're lazy and it's not because you're weak and it's not because you're bad at consistency. It's just because you might be overspending your energy on stability.
Hey, beautiful soul, and welcome to Dear Body, I'm Listening, the podcast for women navigating chronic symptoms, invisible illness, and that daily dance between hope and exhaustion. If you've ever been told it's all in your head, well, this podcast is for you because your body is not lying and neither are you. Hi, I'm Donna Piper, movement therapist, Pilates instructor, and chronic illness navigator. After years of being dismissed, misdiagnosed, and doing everything quote unquote right, but still getting sicker, I created this space to tell our truth. Here we talk about swelling, brain fog, nervous system crashes, and the kind of symptoms that don't always show up on lab results. We're going to explore lymph, breath, movement, self-trust, latest research, books, relationships, basically everything. All from a place of compassion and honesty. This isn't about fixing your body. It's about finally being heard and getting some answers.
Hey friend, running low? Me too. I'm Donna. This is Dear Body, I'm Listening. We're in it together. Hey love, welcome back to Dear Body, I'm Listening. It's Donna, and today is a quick, practical episode for anyone who's ever thought, I'm flexible, but why do I always hurt? Or I have my joints can bend all the way, but I'm really stiff. Or why am I always tired? Or why does working out make me feel worse? Or why do I get injured easily even though I'm doing quote unquote healthy things? I'm working out all the time and I just, walking to the bathroom, sometimes I sprain my ankle. Because I want to talk about hypermobility and specifically how it can show up with things like fatigue, brain fog, headaches, GI issues, and that vibe of my body is always working harder than it should. A while ago, I did an interview with Dr. Melissa Koehl. She's a doctor of physical therapy, Pilates instructor, and she also lives with Hypermobility, Ehlers-Danlos herself. And she's created this program because she was getting worse and worse. And, obviously she's in the health field like I was. And when you're doing things to help people and your body's breaking down, it's even more of a mind you fill in the 4-letter word. And her program, her honesty, and her knowledge and the education, not only the exercises that she gave me to start to rebuild when I was in the deepest throes of my ME/chronic fatigue syndrome, where I really couldn't do a lot anyway. She opened my eyes to the symptoms of hypermobility, and they're not what you always think. They're regular, everyday stuff I was living with that I didn't know was causing me problems. And I didn't even know they were connected, right? Or all of these things of how they were connected until I took her program and I really wanted to learn more about hypermobility because even though I knew I was hypermobile and I worked with people and I could understand how to help them, and naturally I was always like, don't go to the furthest point and build on strength before flexibility, blah, blah, blah. I didn't understand all the symptoms, and that is something why I want to share her program with you. Right now, she is going to launch her ground control. So this is March of 2026. If you're listening, the link will always be good. The link is in the show notes, and I'm sharing her free hypermobility posture guide, which is a guide that you get free, and then you get put on the wait list, and she's going to send you information about ground control. So there's no obligation. I am affiliate. I would get paid. However, there's no extra cost to you. And even if you just do the posture guide, which I think you should, just if you have any hypermobility issues, because posture is one of those things that takes a lot of our energy and we're not really sure, just standing, sitting, driving, everything, laying down is always a thing, right? So this guide will help you. Oh, I'm not crazy. I just need a different roadmap. And she addresses all of that.
I've got good news and bad news. Here's the bad news. Most protein bars are packed with sugar and unpronounceable ingredients. The good news? There's a better option. I'm Will, and I created IQ Bar plant protein bars. to empower doers like you with clean, delicious, low-sugar brain and body fuel. IQ bars are packed with 12 grams of protein, brain nutrients like magnesium and lion's mane, and zero weird stuff. And right now, you can get 20% off all IQ bar products, plus free shipping. Try our delicious IQ bar sampler pack with 7 plant protein bars, 4 hydration mixes, and 4 enhanced coffee sticks. Clean ingredients, amazing taste, and you'll love how you feel. Refuel smarter, hydrate harder, caffeinate larger with IQ bar.
Go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20 to get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping. Again, go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20.
Real talk, no gloss, just us. Now let's dive in. So here's my real talk for today. I've been hypermobile my whole life, and I didn't think it mattered. I was a dancer, I ran marathons, I taught Pilates, I did all of the amazing girl wellness routines before it was trendy, because my body, I knew it needed something extra, so I was always looking for the next thing because I was having all these issues, and I'm like, I live a healthy lifestyle. Why don't I feel like I live a healthy lifestyle? So in my mind, hypermobility was like, just something I am. Like, okay, I can't straighten my knees all the way because it goes beyond, and super flexible. So some things are harder for me for strength because I can go on this range. So I'm like, okay, I dialed those in, but that was about it. And like Melissa said in our interview, most providers are trained to look for hypermobility as major dislocations. So even though they saw I was hypermobile, and many doctors did, my GI doctors knew I was hypermobile, but they didn't connect that to a connective tissue issue. So if your PT or doctors are looking for major dislocations, a lot of people with hypermobility don't dislocate. That doesn't mean that you're not hypermobile. We sublux, we ache, we get mysterious injuries. We have chronic pain in a shoulder or a back, and it doesn't go away. One of our muscles is always really tight. We collect headaches and tight necks and random pain like it's a hobby we didn't sign up for. And the biggest light bulb for me was realize it's not just about joints, it's about the whole body, and the whole body is what it's doing to stabilize you, and that everything in our body is made of connective tissue. So I used to think if I'm sore, I should stretch. If I'm tired, okay, energy creates energy. I should push through. If I'm hurting, I should just strengthen harder, maybe do more cardio. I needed to do more when actually I just really needed to do less. But hypermobile bodies don't respond to more at all. Sometimes more is what creates a flare. And often the flare comes in a few days and you don't even realize that that's what it's from. But, everyone's like, I remember younger in my 20s, after work, I would go do a aerobics class, an ab class. I would do machine weights, and then I would go for a friend and play racquetball. And I would do this 4 or 5 times a week. And then on the weekends, I would mountain bike and I would go hiking. And then in between, I would dance and do all this stuff. So I was always, always active. And then, I would get these massive headaches. My stomach would ache for months. So I wasn't active and I didn't eat well. I kept on having these issues, right? And let me give you an example. So Melissa's program helped me realize that even things like riding in a car could be triggering symptoms for me because my body was subtly bracing and stabilizing the whole time. My nervous system was working overtime just to hold me together. And once I learned to stack my body differently, more support, less collapse, and that was a thing, I just was like, why do I feel like not stable in a car? Or my neck pain, upper cervical spine instability is a thing and you need to treat it differently. I found a doctor locally to help me with that, which has really radically changed my pain as well. And all my pain levels shifted while I was going through her ground control program. And then I went on to It's So Easy, a few other programs that she had. And it wasn't overnight, but it was noticeable. And I was doing this while I was deep in the throes of ME/chronic fatigue syndrome, where I needed to do 50% of what I was used to. So I really had to learn what post-exertional malaise was, what that means. And she goes in depth with so many different things, but in her program, from hypermobile hands to nutrition to movements that you could do and like how you stack them onto each other. It's just really amazing. And I only really ever push or promote anything things I really believe in. And I think if you're hypermobile, if you've been diagnosed, or if you just like were told, oh, you're hypermobile, learning about what hypermobile is a game changer. And Melissa, in her world, she does this so well. And if you're listening and your body feels like, you're doing she's doing the most she can. Like your body is like at its max and you're tired. And it's not because you're lazy and it's not because you're weak and it's not because you're bad at consistency. It's just because you might be overspending your energy on stability.
Now it's time for the connective thread, where the story meets the science.
Okay, the science, plain language. Melissa explained something really important. Fatigue is extremely common in symptomatic hypermobility. And it's not just because you're busy, it's because multiple systems can get involved. Here are the big connections she named. 1, connective tissue is everywhere, not just your knees and your shoulders. Your gut is made of connective tissue. Your blood vessels rely on connective tissue. Your airways rely on connective tissue. So if your tissues are more lax, you can get GI motility issues, bloating, constipation, diarrhea, pain. You can have absorption issues and inflammation. You can have some nutrient deficiencies that add to fatigue and immune reactivity that keeps the whole system irritated. Then next is dysautonomia and POTS overlap. If your vessels are lax, blood can pool more easily in your legs and pelvis, especially standing still. That means less blood returning to the heart and less getting to the brain. Hello, brain fog and fatigue. And 3, a mast cell activation syndrome. Mast cell inflammation can be a part of the mix. Mast cell mediators like histamine can contribute to inflammation and even affect blood vessel dilation, which can feed into symptoms like fatigue, reactivity, and my system is on edge feeling, right? And then 4th, your body works harder to stabilize. This is the one thing that changed everything for me. If your joints are left stable, your muscles have to work harder all day that you hold up. And even though I knew that and I was strengthening, I didn't realize how much my energy was being used just by like trying to live, right? Not quote unquote gym workout harder, life workout harder. So your baseline is already a workout. And that's why Melissa's approach is so different. And it's not push harder at all. It's build stability, improve proprioception, dose movement properly, and respect recovery. Because if you're breaking down tissues faster than you can repair them, you get that downward spiral, more pain, more guarding, more fatigue, more flares, more confusion. And then you get told to exercise more, which is honestly, rude.
Myth buster. Less hype, more help.
All right, myth buster time. So myth 1, if you're hypermobile, you need more stretching. The truth is, a lot of hypermobile bodies need stability, not more range. So hanging out in your range can cause more flares because your body's overstretched anyway. And like it's easier, right, to go there and it feels good. However, that good feeling, I know I got addicted to it. Same thing with chiropractor work, but it actually didn't do anything long-term for me. That was good. So the next myth, if you don't dislocate, it's not a connective tissue disorder. You're not hypermobile. False. The truth is you don't need dislocations to have symptomatic hypermobility. That misconception keeps a lot of people undiagnosed for decades. So right now they're in the process of changing the requirements because whether you're hypermobile, you get diagnosed with hypermobility spectrum disorder or hypermobility EDS. It's all the same, right? If you're hypermobile, you'll have some connective tissue disorders and you'll need to know how to be with that, right? You really need to know how to move your body that is typically anti what people that have normative issues, normative connective tissue need to move. getting out of that no pain, no gain mentality. And that leads us into myth 3. If exercise makes you worse, you're just out of shape. No. Or like, oh my God, I did a yoga class. I felt really good. I'm talking about me. I do feel really good. Oh, it's going to relieve all my stiffness. And then an hour later, I feel worse. It's because I go to my end range, and I didn't know this for years, but it's not helping me out because I need more stability. I have flexibility. I need more stability to help so I don't go all the way to the extreme and then end up all the way to the other. So the truth is you might be just exceeding your recovery capacity. Right? We all have a recovery capacity, and most of us don't know what that is. I know I didn't. You may just need a different dosage and a different style of training. So, doing slow increment movements, and that is why I really hope you pick up the free posture guide from Dr. Melissa, not because I'm an affiliate and I want to make money off you, because I really, really think that if you're hypermobile, you need to know this information. It's literally life-changing.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace.
Last year, I went through many different life changes. I needed to take a pause and examine how I was feeling in the inside to better show up for the ones who need me to be my best version of myself.
When you're navigating life's changes, Talkspace can help. Talkspace is the #1 rated online therapy, bringing you professional support from licensed therapists and psychiatry providers that you can access anytime, anywhere.
Living a busy life, navigating a long-distance relationship, becoming a first-step father, Talkspace made all of those journeys possible. I could speak with my therapist in the office. I could speak with my therapist in the comfort of my home. I was never alone.
Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance, no problem. Now get $80 off your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
Feel good flow time, micro moves, macro reliefs. Let's breathe together.
So today's Feel Good Flow is just a couple minutes. So here's a tiny hypermobility friendly reset you can do right now. No gear, no sweating, no push, right? So just make sure you're not driving or doing anything where you need your concentration. We're going to ground, stack, and breathe. So you could sit, stand, or lie down, whatever feels most supportive. So keyword, most supportive. And I want you to feel 3 points of your feet: big toe mound, pinky toe mound, and heel. So if you're lying down, bend your knees so your feet are flat if you can. If you're sitting, standing, that'd be easier. Then gently soften your knees. So if you're sitting, just make sure there's no tension in your knees. I tend to lock and have a lot of tension. It's called substitution. There's other words for it, but let's go with substitution. And if you're standing, make sure your knees aren't all the way locked out. They're going to feel a little soft. So it's going to feel like you're bending huge, but you're not. You're probably just going in alignment. Then stack your ribs over your pelvis. Okay, not flared up, not collapsed. So find what that means, because I have a super bendy lower back and upper back and ribs. So it takes me a little bit to kind of find that. So a place where your ribs are just over your hips. Now, if you have a dance background or anything, or Pilates where you're classically trained Pilates, or take a classically trained class, there's a lot of this going on. This is where you want to find where your bones are just right over the other, right? And then the shoulders are over the hips, and your ears are over your shoulder, and your chin's not all the way up and it's not all the way down. So your neck is not bending back or forward. So really find that place. And if you're lying down, it's a little easier because everything's supported. Just with your ribs, just make sure you're not flaring them out. Just gently pull those abs in just slightly, not a lot, just a little bit, so your body has some stability through its core. And gently inhale and exhale. And as you inhale, say, I don't have to hold myself together with panic, anxiety, tension, with a lot of intensity. And then as you exhale, and make your exhale a little longer than your inhale, say to yourself, support can feel quiet. So if you feel like, because your body is doing all this work and it's like all geared up. That's why if you're hypermobile and you're like, I'm just sitting doing nothing and my shoulders are so tense, it's because your body is like trying to hold your yourself up with your shoulders. So we want to first create some awareness, right? And here's your bendy cue for the day. Stop one breath before your form gets sloppy. So that's instability training, that's nervous system training, that's self-trust training. So if you're sitting or standing and then you start to kind of move, or it's like stop one breath before, like don't go further. More is not better with all of this hypermobility stuff. So just take it up tomorrow. This is shared education and lived experience, not medical advice, and is not meant to be. Check in with your body, check in with your clinician, and find out what fits your life. So, all right, love, if this episode made you go, wait, this explains so much, here's what I would like you to do next. Go grab Dr. Melissa's free Hypermobility Posture Guide. It's simple, practical resources that help you understand how to support your body without overdoing it. I am an affiliate for Melissa's work, which means that if you join her program through my link, I may earn a commission at no extra cost to you. I only share things I truly believe in, and her approach has been a game changer for how I move in my own hypermobile body. And if you're listening and thinking I might have hypermobility, but I'm not sure, remember what Dr. Melissa said in our previous podcast episode. I'll also link it down in the show notes. You don't need dramatic dislocations for this to matter. If you have chronic pain, fatigue, headaches, GI issues, injuries that don't make sense, or workouts that wreck you, it's worth exploring. Okay, do a deep exhale with me. Inhale and longer exhale. And until next time, dear body, I'm listening. You've been listening to Dear Body, I'm Listening. Now it's time to remember to be gentle with your capacity, meet yourself where you are, and if this has helped, send it to a friend who also needs a soft reminder and a gentle place to land.
If this episode made you feel even more seen, brought you clarity, or reminded you that you're not alone, please take a moment to rate, review, and send it to someone who needs that same reminder. You can find more tools, blog posts, and support over at donnapiper.com. And hey, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Got a question for me? Every month I do a listener coaching episode, and I'd love to hear from you. Send your questions, stories, or flare-up confessions to donna@donnapiper.com. And you just might hear your answer on the show. Until next time, dear body, I'm listening, and I am so glad that you are here.